Hey, it's Steve here from Adventure Moto, and I'm here at Teknik Motorsport with Nick Doll, who has done his magic on the Ténéré 700 that I've left with him for the last week or so. And look, we're here with the bike. I'm going to ask Nick a few questions about what he's done to my particular bike. Now, I believe he's put a complete aftermarket front and rear shock system into this bike. So let's have a talk to Nick. So Nick,
hi Steve.
How are you, mate?
Good, thanks.
So I see the bike standing there. Now, looking at it, it doesn't look any taller. It doesn't look any different. So what have you done to it?
Same height. So I've left it at the original height. We've put an Andriani 4 cartridge kit in it, but it's now a pretty highly modified kit. It's got, rather than 180 mil of fork travel, it's back to the standard, which is 210. And I have revalved and reworked the cartridges significantly so they're suitable for use here in Australia in the dirt.
All right, so basically, so the Italian front forks, the Adriani kit.
Yep.
And then TFX shock.
Yep. So it's got a TFX in the rear. So basically, when Andriani made the cartridge kit, it was for the tar. It was for the street, because in Europe most of their customers were saying...
That was a 180
travel,
so it was reducing the travel from the stock suspension.
It reduced it because they said their customers don't want so much travel, they want less travel, they want much more dampening, they want a spring rate that's much harder, to turn it in from a sort of dirt bike into a road bike only.
So which means it wouldn't dive under braking as much and all of that.
Right.
So you've extended that out to a 210, which is the stock suspension.
210.
And one of the things you said to me, you didn't want to go to 230, which some guys are doing, because I'm 6 foot and I don't need to be on a 230.
So I can easily extend that fork out to 240. But if I do that to the fork, I'll do the same to the rear, and we just end up with a bike that is quite tall.
And for the average person, that's going to be too tall.
Yeah, it becomes quality over quantity. That yes, we can extend the travel 240, we could go to 280, we could go to 300, but what you want is quality, and you also, in the situations where you need to be able to touch the ground, you need to be able to put a foot down.
But if I was 6'5", that's what you'd do, but I'm not. So
if you were exceedingly tall, you would have to do a whole bunch of other things to the bike, move the bars forward, the seat would have to be taller, but you're not.
All right. Now, so Nick, what about the spring rate at the rear of the bike? I see you've got that lovely TFX.
We've got an 80
in there.
We've got an 80 Newton in it.
Yep.
We actually put an 85 on it and did a few Ks on it, and we all felt that even for me, 120 kilos, the 85 just feels too hard. I understand once you put bags on it and bags and racks on it that it would feel better, but I'm really happy with an 80.
Greg's got I think he's got like an 8.5 to a 9 rate spring on the back of his bike.
Yep.
88. And so you've left this one at for me.
So
what's the stock spring rate?
69.
So what have you done with this one?
It's an 80.
80. So you've upped it for a bit of extra weight, carrying a bit of luggage, but you haven't gone over the top.
No.
Because the guys that think they need a 9.5 spring rate, they'd have to be 150 kilos plus luggage, wouldn't they?
There's a real differentiation I make between a shock that has had dampening work done to it, or it's a TFX.
Yeah.
And a shock that is a completely standard shock.
So and I think you once told me the spring just does one job, and
Yeah,
every other component in the suspension setup does the rest of the work, the dampening, the valving, and all of that. And so you don't need necessarily to go, you're overcompensating with a heavy spring if you haven't done the rest of the work and tuned the suspension to the rider and the conditions that he's riding in.
Yeah. So one of the really neat things this bike now has, it's got a lot of external adjustment. On the rear shock, you've got a high speed compression, low speed compression, rebound adjustment, and on the front fork you've got a spring preload adjustment,
Well, you better run me
and
around
you've
how
got
to do that.
a compression adjustment on the top,
Yep.
which is quite easy to get to, and a rebound adjuster.
And do you think
on
I'm
the
going
top.
to need to do any of that, or do you think you've done you've
I'd be pretty
set my
confident.
bikes up before,
I'd be pretty confident for you just to take this thing on the Tragics as it is.
and then come back with any feedback?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So we're going to do the Tragics run next week. We are currently going to take the bike from Teknik here in Penrith and over to Mudgee to see Jack at DMK to look at the suspension, the graphic setup that he's done for us. I'm really excited about seeing this bike develop. We're going to then take it back to the ADVworx workshop with Greg Yeager and do some Outback Mototech crash bars, bash plate, and a few other bits like bark busters for the bike. Within a few days, this bike will be totally transformed. I'm Steve Smith, Adventure Moto. Fantastic.